Meg Whitman, thank you for your time. You have quite comfortably made the case against Donald Trump for some time now. Are you equally comfortable making the case for Hillary Clinton?
I am comfortable making the case for Hillary Clinton. I mean, they are related, right? Because one of these two individuals is going to be president, and my view is that Hillary would make the far better president. And really for two reasons: temperament, stability, leadership experience. And then frankly, I think the economy is so important to the United States. I think she will be better for business, for job creation, and for small business. So they're related, but I think she would make the much better president.
I imagine that there are fellow Republicans who are looking at the situation that might agree with you on temperament, but say, I'm so far from her on so many different issues, I just can't reconcile myself. You have differences with Ms. Clinton. How did you reconcile those?
So, as I said, this is a race between two individuals. One of these two people will be president of the United States, and I think everyone has to say, what's the right answer for America? And while I don't agree with everything that Hillary Clinton proposes, I agree with lots of things that she proposes. And I think on the most important issues, the economy, our role in the world, how we present ourselves around the world, I agree with her. And so, you know, everyone has to make their own judgment, but my view was there was far more things to recommend Hillary Clinton than recommend Donald Trump.
When you talk about your agreement on economic issues, Colorado has a long history of wealthy Republicans getting behind a Democrat who promises stability in the status quo, Governor Hickenlooper among them. And I could see Trump supporters saying, well, there's the problem. Republican Meg Whitman is willing to support a Democrat so long as she promises the status quo for people with money.
So I would argue that Hillary Clinton is not about the status quo at all. She is about reaching those individuals who have been left behind. I mean, if nothing else is clear about this election, it is there is a group of people who are not better off than they were 8 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. They've been left behind by globalization, by startups disrupting old industries, and frankly, by much more competitive countries around the world. And I think she knows, and I understand, we actually have to change some things in this country. We've got to empower small business. We have to really get serious about workforce training and skills. We have to decide what industries we think are going to drive the new economy and get behind those industries. So I don't think it is at all the status quo.
At one point, you had an active interest in running for office.
Yes.
Is that something that you still see in your future down the line? Would you be interested in serving in a Clinton administration, or are you committed to staying in the private sector?
Yeah, so you're right, I did run for governor of California. That will be my last foray into elected politics. You know, I loved it, I learned a lot, but it's not something I will do again. And, you know, we'll see what happens. Listen, I'm very committed to hewlett-packard. The company's, you know, doing very well now, and, you know, love my life in California.
Last question for you. If you look at California, here for the first time in a very long time, there's not going to be a Republican in the Senate race.
Yes.
So I won't ask you who you're voting for there, but I guess more broadly, my question is, when you look at home in California and across the country, what's happened to your party?
Yeah, well, I think the party is struggling for an identity. And I think if Donald Trump loses, the party has to think about, how do we rebuild? What are we going to stand for? How are we going to include a broader section of Americans in the vision that the Republicans have for the party? And what I will say about California, our top two primary system, I think, is actually working. Because when two Democrats can win a primary, or two Republicans, you end up with a little bit more ability to find someone who is more moderate, either a moderate Democrat or a moderate Republican, which allows them to cooperate more with the other party. And we have got to bring the Republicans and the Democrats together to get things done for this country.
I might have lied on that last question. If Donald Trump does indeed lose, and there's that rebuilding part of the process for your party, will you stay in the party to be part of that process?
Yeah, I mean, I am a Republican. I am still a Republican, even though I'm supporting Hillary Clinton, because I thought in this election we needed to put country before party. And yes, I'd be, you know, very interested in helping to rebuild the party, because I think the Republicans stand for a lot of really important things. But we need to rebuild, refocus, and get our message just right for, you know, the 21st century.
Meg Whitman, thank you for your time.
Thank you.